Hello and welcome to I Talk to Ghosts, the podcast that reaches out to you from beyond the veil. I'm your haunted host, Jennifer, a spirit medium and a teller of ghost stories. And tonight I have gathered many a strange tale of ghostly hands. You might think something so small could never be scary, but trust me, these stories have a wonderful creep factor. You'll see. You'll see. Then after the spooky, stay for the spiritual. Of course, I have a new in-studio spirit reading to share with you tonight. I am really grateful that I'm able to share my work as a medium instead of just talking about it. I know I've expressed that before, but there is a difference there, right? You get to witness it right there with me and my guest. And to me, that is very special and unique and mysterious, and I'll never take that for granted. I'd like to share more of my thoughts on mediumship in the future, but if you ever have any questions about how I work, you can contact me through italktoghosts.com or find me through social media, because I certainly love talking about it. Also tonight, I have a new message from the spirits. Please meet me at my seance table and see if this message is uniquely for you. That's later on in the podcast. But first, take my hand. The ghosts are certainly reaching for you right now. This event took place when I was 8 years old. It was springtime and around early evening, almost dark outside, when my mom asked me to put my jacket in my bedroom. I walked down the hall towards my room, opened the bedroom door, and tossed my jacket onto my cluttered bedroom floor. I turned around to leave. As I was closing my bedroom door, I caught a glimpse of something. I saw a hand reaching out from the gap in the closet door. The hand was low to the ground and seemed to be grabbing at the air in the room. It was a hand and part of an arm only. The rest of it faded into nothingness. I stood there frozen, watching this hand reaching from the darkness of my closet, searching for something. It stopped moving mid-motion, as if realizing it had been seen. Then, it slowly moved backwards into the darkness of my closet. After that, I'm not joking, I didn't sleep in my room for at least a year. I would just sleep in my brother's room on the mattress we used for guest sleepovers. And then my parents bought us bunk beds. I was so afraid to sleep in my own room, thinking that hand would try to find me. I never saw it again. I don't know what it was or how it was connected to the area I lived in, but I know what I saw. So many people have seen full-bodied apparitions that are clear as day. Well, I've never been lucky enough to see anything like that. I find it curious that the only thing I have ever seen that has been solid and looked like a living person was a hand. This happened in the autumn of 2007. My husband, my son, and myself were living in an apartment. My husband worked the graveyard shift and would get home around 4 or 5 a.m. One night, around 2:30, I woke up and turned over to the other side facing the door to our bedroom. To my surprise, I noticed a man's fingers and part of his hand curling around the edge of the door just above the doorknob, as if someone was standing outside the room and were about to pull the door the rest of the way open. I called out my husband's name, and the hand let go of the door and was gone from view. Still hoping that this was my husband, I got out of bed, walked over and opened the door, and looked out into the living room. It was then that I realized there were no lights on. This was very unsettling to me, because if my husband was home, he would at least turn on the kitchen light. I called his name again, and there was no answer. I turned on my bedroom light and the hall light, and quickly walked across the living room and turned on that light as well, and began to search the apartment. There was no one there. And I'm sure it couldn't have been an intruder, because I didn't hear anyone open a door or a window to get out to leave. I didn't sleep very well the rest of the night, and I was very happy when my husband got home in the morning. I've always felt there was a lot of paranormal occurrences happening in and around the property that my family and I live at. Even so, it terrifies me every time whenever something unusual happens. Several days ago, both my sister and I were chatting together in the kitchen. I was washing up the dishes from lunch earlier when she froze and pointed at the window saying, "Oh my God, what is that?" I turned and I saw a pale hand with very long fingers at the corner of the kitchen window. The fingers were moving slowly and fluidly as if beckoning us to come outside. The hand was not attached to an arm. Both of us were terrified, and I immediately went to the back door to check if someone was trying to play a trick on us. I didn't see anything in our yard, but as I opened the door, one of my cats bolted inside, clearly frightened of something. I closed the back door firmly and went back into the kitchen. My sister was staring out the kitchen window, but the hand was gone. Not long afterwards, the back door opened on its own with a creaky noise, and my sister and I freaked out. I rushed to close it again and relocked it. Whatever it was we saw at the window, if it was physical, it would have been impossible for it to leave the yard as quickly as it did, for the yard was fully fenced and its gate was locked. But the hand seemed otherworldly, and both me and my sister had seen it, so it couldn't have been a hallucination. I know what I saw, and the fact that my sister saw it too strengthens my belief that something is trying to grab our attention, for certain. I was always very nervous when it came to scary stories. I remember it was a Sunday evening when my sister had friends over to watch a movie, and afterwards, they started telling ghost stories. As the stories got creepier and scarier, I began to cry because I was just too scared. I ended up leaving the room and going to bed. The following morning, my two oldest sisters, me and my younger brother, got up to get ready for school. Right before my oldest sister was going to head out for school, she asked me to go to her room to grab her jacket that she had forgotten. Without hesitating, I did. My sister's room was very organized since she was the only one out of all our siblings to have her own room. Her twin-size bed was centered in the middle of the room against the wall, and her bed was nicely made. As I began to look around for her jacket, which was hung on the back of her chair, movement caught my eye. I saw a hand slip out from under her bed. This pale hand was reaching out from under the bed, sliding around in a bit of a half circle, as if searching for something, before it retreated back under the bed. At that moment, I thought perhaps it was my younger sister, who might have woke up early and had decided to play in my older sister's room. I walked around the bed to the other side. Then I bent down and lifted up the blankets to discover nobody under the bed. At that instant, I felt shivers through my whole body, and the hair rose on the back of my neck. I ran out of her room back downstairs to tell the rest of my family what just happened. To this day, I can still remember the image of this hand sliding out from under the bed. It was maybe a quick 5 seconds, but those 5 seconds still scare me to this day when I think about it. I try to tell myself it was my imagination playing with me because of all the ghost stories I heard the night before. But I know for a fact this really happened, and I didn't imagine it. Hello, my dear spooky friend. Do you have a paranormal experience you would like to share? Submit your ghost stories to be read on this podcast. I love sharing true ghost stories, and yours could be among them. Email me your story at speaknow@italktoghosts.com. Let's be spooky together. Hello and welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. My guest this evening is Cece. Cece, welcome to the podcast and your reading. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Wonderful. Well, right off the bat, the first message that was coming in for you was one of support for successful endings and successful beginnings, and to support yourself through the transition and process. Is that something that resonates with you right now?
Yeah, actually, we just bought a house, which was something that we didn't think that we were ever going to be able to do, especially just with how the times are. And that was something for my husband and myself that was a big deal.
Congratulations. Lots of stress with that too, though, right?
A lot of stress, yeah. But yeah, we never thought that that was going to be in our future, and we made it happen. And so, yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Congrats. That is just so amazing. And all blessings to you and your new home and making it yours and creating that space together. That's lovely. So I do have a couple of people here for you. There is a woman. She was making her presence known with a very light floral scent. Nothing too strong, but kind of perfumey or soapy.
And she's also showing me that she was a passionate person. I think I could say that. I see her smiling and her heart racing a bit just from her emotions. Like she had some ups and downs, but, and I see her dancing, kind of, kicking her feet up a little bit, like, swishing the skirts.
Oh, that could be either my grandma or my husband's grandmother.
They may be coming in together because sometimes they do that, I think, to combine energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to come in. Going back, do you recognize any kind of floral perfume?
Definitely with my grandmother.
She had some opinions on things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could see her as being the type of woman who, not necessarily bossy, but was comfortable with herself and her emotions, that she would be willing to be like, yes, I am here.
Yeah.
Does that sound like her?
Yeah, she definitely had her opinions on things, so.
Let's see. She is talking about some burdens in her life as she got older, and she's not afraid to talk about those either. I think she's just like, I'll tell you everything type of person.
Yeah, she's definitely the type where if you wanted to get her insight or her opinion on something or what she thought about it, she's going to tell you.
Mm-hmm. I want to see if your husband's grandmother will come a little closer and talk to us a little bit. She's talking about her husband. Did your husband lose his grandfather as well? Did he pass?
Yeah, my husband's grandfather passed before he was born, I believe, so he never got to meet him.
She's saying that they're together and they want to come in together and that's important. They're bringing in a message for your husband of make sure not to work so hard that you're not enjoying the things you're working towards. Does that make sense? Like yeah. he can take a break every once in a while or should be reminded of that a little bit. Does that sound like your husband?
Yeah, he's very, he throws himself into work and he takes it really seriously. And so, when stuff doesn't go right at work, it takes a toll on him.
Yeah, the stress.
He beats himself up.
Yeah. So, they're both saying, let it go a little bit. Because if you're filling your whole life up with that, that's what you got, Yeah. And it's important that we take the time to appreciate everything we've worked towards. And if he can at all, even if he has to schedule those little breaks or find a routine where he can let that go a little bit, it would be helpful. Because they see his stress, they feel his stress, and they just don't want that for him. Was his grandfather a hard worker? And maybe that's something that you can ask him. I feel like in your family too, there are some men who are just really hard workers.
Absolutely.
Like your grandfather, was
My
he?
My grandfather. Yeah, he's the one that I was really hoping would come through.
He's here. Because he was right when I said that, he was like, yep. The hardworking. Yeah. He's bringing in how family and relationships are important. Mm-hmm. And that it's everything. It's the glue, it's what makes everything work and be bright, Yeah. I'm going to start to get a little random with some impressions that I've got. I was hearing a whistle.
My mom can do that whistle where you put two fingers in the mouth and you can hear from 3 blocks away. That's how she used to call us in.
Yeah, it was like a really long whistle.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, my grandpa, that's him.
Yes.
Yeah. That's where she was able to get that from.
All right, because it was coming through with him. Was your grandfather kind of a clever man? Was he good at math?
Yeah, he was he was a builder.
Okay. Yeah.
He could build anything, and his garage was like this just intricate shop. I mean, I remember one year I said that I wanted a baby bassinet for my doll, and he can make it, and it's professional. And so, yeah, absolutely clever, very smart. Yeah.
He was showing me a ruler, so that makes sense with the building. But the math that I was seeing, it was like he could look at something and immediately know the numbers of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that would definitely be him. I mean,
it's like a trick. It was almost like a trick, you know?
Yeah. There were times where, I mean, he worked on our cars. He taught my mom how to work on cars. And like, we would be like, Grandpa, I can't figure it out. I don't know what it is. And sometimes he could just look at it and be like, oh, this, and this. And, you know, this is what you need.
I want him to come closer and just, what else does he have to say? He's just a very nice man.
Yes.
Could you make you laugh too?
Yeah. You
know, like just silly. Like, I wouldn't expect him to be silly, but here he is being like, you know what I mean? Absolutely.
As hardworking and like serious he could be, like about work and just about, you know, things that are right and wrong. He was just as much goofy and just could say things that instantly make you laugh. So
yeah. He's kind of praising your grandmother a bit. Were they still together? Were they together a long time?
Yeah, they were together up until he passed, and then she passed recently.
We're singing his praises and everything, and he's like, I couldn't have been the man I was if it wasn't for the woman I was with. You know, and he's like, look at her. She was amazing and made things happen, and he just thought the whole world revolved around her. And and he just wants to say, just loved her so much and loves her still, and that these are the relationships we should model ours after. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they fit those. They fit together well, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and I think that they did something that we don't do anymore, which is kind of like that radical acceptance of who people are for their flaws, as well as the good things, but the flaws as well, you know?
I was being shown someone more your age wearing like a hoodie and a baseball cap.
That's my brother. We're 2 years apart. Yeah.
When talking about him, it feels like there might be some situations that are a little pokey or a little bothersome. Like there's a little bit of drama that isn't necessary in life. I think they just want to give a little bit of advice there. Does this sound right for your brother?
Yeah.
Your grandfather is just like smile and laugh. Just smile and laugh and move on. Do something a little silly to distract from the situation, like start talking about fish, you know, like smoke and mirrors, right? And just diffuse it and get out of there is your grandfather's advice.
He definitely would have cracked a joke right there.
Yeah. Another random thing, knitting or quilting?
Oh, my grandma.
Did she have quite a bit of yarn?
She had quite a bit of everything that was craft related.
She's getting embarrassed about it.
No,
like, no, we don't have to talk about it. No, I think we should. She's like, we don't have to talk about all the things.
She was the queen of decor and crafting. She had a whole craft room, you know. So it was kind of funny how, you know, her and my grandpa kind of went hand in hand, right? Like my grandpa would make the bassinet, and my grandma would make the sheets to go in there. Like that's how kind of creative they both were in that aspect.
That is so sweet. Yeah, I got this vision of her like kind of shutting the door and like, no, we don't have to look in there. I'm gonna clean it up. It's
yeah, that's totally her.
Your family has some wonderful influencing energy, and anytime you want to tap into them, and you know, if you're feeling low or stressed or anything like that, they can be there for you. You know, call them close and just, you know, that spirit is in you too, and you're connected always, definitely.
Awesome.
I do have a couple messages that I wrote down for you. Okay. Don't be overwhelmed is the first thing they say. Okay. Connect with your intuition and just let it flow. Like, there's your answers. You don't have to overthink. You don't have to second guess. Don't stress about the decisions. And if there is a lot going on, just remember, you know, light those candles, you know, get that flow going, and you'll be there. And they say you'll be inspired. So trust in it. You know, if you create that space, you will be inspired. And then you can trust in that. You don't have to second guess that, you know. And lean on your friends and throw a party. Is what they're saying. Don't forget to throw a party.
That's awesome.
So do those messages connect for you?
Yeah, they do. I'm always overwhelmed. It's just, that's my life. It's how I've always been. Very anxious, overwhelmed person.
You've got a whole family of, you know, supporting you in this. And yeah, just, we have to create the space and the quiet. And I completely understand how, you know, sometimes it's like, I'm afraid not to be afraid. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's because you feel like you're leaving yourself open and exposed. You know,
this is what they're showing me. They're showing me this butterfly coming out of the cocoon, right? The cocoon feels safe. The butterfly's coming out. Of course, you're going to feel vulnerable in that state, but is it worth it? Oh my gosh. And will you strengthen? Oh my gosh. Will you fly away? Yes. Yeah. So it's like, you can't just keep shoving back into the cocoon because, you know, it's like, I'm worried about not worrying. It's like, it's going to be uncomfortable. It might be a little itchy and you know, not feel good, but it's worth it. And you just have to support yourself spiritually and energetically through that transition. And your brain is going to tell you you're wrong, because that's what the brain does when it's routed into these routines. But then it's just reinforce it with something more positive. Like, imagine how you want to be and then embody that person. You know what I mean? Yeah,
absolutely. And that was a big, I guess, the turning point where I realized that was something that I needed to like really take seriously is when my dog passed. And he was my only support when I moved away from the town that I grew up in. It was just him and I for 14 years. And so when he passed, it was kind of like, I hope I just thank you. You know, just that appreciation. Like, you were the one that was always there. When I didn't have anybody else before I met my husband. And so it was a super strong bond. And when he passed, a lot hit me. It kind of opened the door for a lot of stuff that I was avoiding because the pain from losing him was way too deep, that there was no way to like close that wound up and act like nothing was wrong. So,
absolutely. Yeah. And did he used to pull something or drag something around? Blanket or something? What was that?
Yeah, it was towards the end, he had lost the ability to walk due to degenerative myelitis. His changing blanket, where I would like get everything and redo all his bedding, the blanket, every time I go to pull the blanket, he would pull it back. And
that's the first thing he was showing me, is pulling a blanket. You know, and he's still with you too. You know, don't ever feel that the animals we lose aren't there either. They go on as well. And so he was showing me the pulling blanket. Oh, that is so sweet. Oh, he's definitely still with you too. And it's okay to lean on him sometimes as well.
I just have one question. If he's able to. I was super torn about putting him down. I don't know if he was in pain prior to that. I don't know if I kept him too long in the state that he was. It was a huge battle for me, and a lot of guilt for me.
You were his world, and he would have done anything for you. Yeah, completely respects your choices, and when it's time, and you knew. And don't doubt that. Don't doubt that at all. Yeah, what a sweet boy. He's bringing up that, he had good days and bad days, and then it seemed like he was good again, and then you're like, oh no, should I not? And like, it seemed good, then it seemed really bad, and then you had the back and forth with that a little bit, but yeah. He's saying that the timing was good.
Okay.
And that he's sorry he had to go, but you were the best. You were the absolute best.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so don't ever doubt that decision at all.
Yeah, it was super tough because it was like, oh, he's better, because I was fully committed to taking care of him, whether he could use his legs or not, like got a wheelchair, the whole nine.
Yeah.
To me, that wasn't worth putting him down for.
Yeah.
Because he was still excited, he was still happy, he was still engaged. He still wanted to play with my other dog, and I didn't. To me, that's not like, go put your dog down. But
you're right.
It just, he was doing good one day, and then the next day it sounded like he couldn't breathe right, and then he'd get better, and then so I was just, it was horrible.
That back and forth, and forth.
Yeah, that was super tough.
Yeah. That I'm sure it's just a heartbreaking thing to go through. So I feel you completely with that. But when the time came, the time came, and don't regret that. And he certainly regrets not a minute with you. So yeah, you did the right thing.
Awesome. Thank you, Toby.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. You are such a beautiful person inside and out, and your family is amazing, and Toby too. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy with me.
Thank you so much.
Before we go, do you have a spooky story to tell?
Yeah.
Listener ghost story.
Over the years, I will get dreams where something terrible is happening in my dream, and then when I wake up, I end up finding out that something terrible has happened to the person that I dreamt about. And specifically, the one that stands out the most is my brother. He has really bad asthma. He has his whole life. I had a dream where in that dream he had an asthma attack, and he ended up passing away, and I could feel like the weight of the casket as I'm carrying him. Wow. I could see every detail in his face, which never happens in dreams where you're able to like see that vivid kind of detail.
Yeah.
And I was just heartbroken in my dream and like screaming, crying out, and I woke up screaming and crying, and I was just super overwhelmed from that dream, and I called my mom, and she proceeded to tell me that Jared's on the way to the hospital right now.
Oh my gosh.
My brother was on the way to the hospital because of a severe asthma attack. And so that wasn't the first time that that's happened. And my father actually has that same thing to where he would have dreams about people or dreams about things, and it ends up like that something's wrong, whether with that person. And so I don't know what that means, but it's every time I have one of those dreams now, and I'm like, okay, who is this for? Because something's going down, and I don't know what it means. But yeah, that's my spooky or like weird thing.
It's a gift. Maybe not a gift you want, but it's certainly a gift. Oh wow. So your dad, you say your dad has had this happen to him too.
Yeah, I remember throughout my childhood there was numerous times where he would just have a dream that like either something was off with somebody or something bad was happening, and it ends up that like it was right. Whether it happened immediately or like down the road, whatever he dreamt about was what and kind of ended up happening.
It's fascinating. It's fascinating. Anything unexplainable like that, where it's just like I believe we're just more tuned in than we know, or think we know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Funny for me to say that, but yeah.
Right.
Well, thanks again, Cece. This has been amazing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Would you like a free spirit reading with me and record your reading for the podcast? Sign up for your chance to be selected by visiting italktoghosts.com/guest. And as an added bonus, if you don't want to leave your reading up to chance, I'll let you in on a secret. There's a discount offer to book a private session with me, so you can book a date and time for certain. Visit italktoghosts.com/guest for more details. I can't wait to meet you. Hello and welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. I have a message from the spirits this evening, so thank you for joining me at my seance table. Tonight I'm going to be working with wormwood. If you're not familiar with the properties of wormwood, it is thought to be an extremely potent herb to work with for spirit communication. It can be used in any sort of spirit ritual, and often it is used to help ease a soul to transition out of this life. So tonight, calling a spirit close, and a woman is coming forward. I'm seeing her as a grandmother and a mom, and she is showing me a very difficult, challenged life. A lot of harsh family dynamics, money issues, so many. It was hard. It was a hard life. And right away, she's saying she wants to acknowledge how difficult it was for you growing up and the ramifications of your childhood. And she also has regrets about how she passed, and I don't think the two of you were talking at the time, and now that you've heard that she's gone, how to process that still. You feel so disconnected with your heart. She wants to acknowledge all of that, and she's hoping that you can hear it, not for her, but for your own healing. Yeah, there was a lot of heartache in your family, and there's still a lot of drama. I wouldn't be surprised if you just have cut ties and don't speak to a lot of your family anymore. But she just really just wants to reach out and convey that she sees it all now and has this clarity that she lacked in life. She couldn't get out of it either, is what she's saying. Because it wasn't just her, it was everything. She really wants to tell you that she loves you, soul to soul. She loves you. Things that might make sense to you is your long walk to school when you were younger. She didn't have the ability to drive you and the bus wasn't available. And your family experienced a chimney fire. It wasn't like severe and serious, but yeah, she's showing me that as well. And that as a kid, your favorite candy was Hershey's Kisses. Her message for you tonight is you have a birthday coming up, and she wants you to be able to celebrate that milestone, as well as encourage you to take this as an opportunity for introspectiveness. Get rid of that indecisive thinking habit that has formed in your life, and find that clarity and purpose, and just anything you can do to let go of the past and make your life your own. She just wants that for you. She really does. Here is a wonderful opportunity for you to reset and start over, and again, make your life your own. Make your life your own, and be happy. Be happy. I think I'm going to leave it at that. If this message connects for you, please reach out. Let's continue to talk. I would love to have a conversation with you. In the meantime, take care. Thank you. Book a tarot reading with me. Tarot can be a wonderful source for affirmation, validation, and inspiration. To book a session with me, visit italktoghosts.com/readings. Let's see what the cards have to say for you. Hello and welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. Before we part ways into the shadows this evening, I want to give a quick spooky shout out to my talented friends, Jen and Cam of the Our True Crime podcast. They are hosting a 12 Nightmares Before Christmas starting on December 13th. I'll be playing a spooky spot with more info on that, but do go check out the Our True Crime podcast. Go give them a visit for some chilling nightmare fuel. As promised, here's the trailer for Our True Crime podcast's The 12 Nightmares Before Christmas.
Hear that jingle jingle? It could be Kris Kringle, or a home invader coming down the chimney, a jilted lover flashing a knife under the mistletoe, or a disgruntled coworker at the office Christmas party, lacing the punch with arsenic.
It's disgusting.
Jen and Cam, the hosts of Our True Crime podcast, are always on Santa's nice list. But this holiday season, they're filling your stockings with 12 nightmarish crimes committed by the lowest scumbags on the naughty list.
It happened in Florida, so everybody's now going, yeah.
They'll be coming down the chimney, counting down the 12 nights till Christmas.
Did I say it
1,
six?
2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah,
7, 8,
that's
9.
it.
With a different true crime case every night, each one naughtier than the last.
This one is a doozy.
So spike your eggnog,
It's going to make you want to regurgitate.
because you'll need it for Our True Crime podcast's 12 Nightmares Before Christmas. They're coming to town December 13th through 24th. Listen to Our True Crime podcast on your favorite podcast apps.
Well, I cannot wait. Hit me with it. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Dive right in.
And with that, we've reached the end of this episode of I Talk to Ghosts. I hope you've enjoyed the spirit work I've shared with you this evening, as well as those spooky stories of ghostly hands. Have you ever experienced something similar? I would love to hear about it. In the meantime, wherever you wander off to in this world or the next, just remember, come back and visit with me. Have a lovely evening and good night.